Well, thank you everyone for joining us today, and welcome to this launch event for the Encode and Wintermute Hack DeFi event. I know a lot of you have been looking forward to this, in part because it's, I think, the broadest hackathon we've ever done. Just like picking a topic and saying like go wild with it. And I'm fully expecting, I know in the conversations I've been having with people in the kind of preceding days and weeks, I know a lot of you are looking forward to this. I know a lot of you have some ideas on what to build. So it's going to be really, really cool. I'm going to talk for a few minutes about some of the general stuff to do with the hackathon, some of the stuff you'll know, some of the stuff you won't know, and hand over to the Wintermute guys to talk a little bit about Wintermute and DeFi in general. But what is this this program? What is this hackathon? What is a hackathon? We'll get to the hackathon bit in a moment. But in general, assuming you know what a hackathon is, this is a 4-week program to build an awesome DeFi project. Whatever you may like to build, you can build whatever you like. You build it on any chain. You can build on old ideas. You can build on new ideas. You can merge old ideas with new ideas. And we'll be doing an ideation event next week where we can kind of talk about the cool stuff that you can do. You build on any blockchain, as I've just said, not limited to any new ones, any old ones. It could be Ethereum, it could be Avalanche, it could be Solana, it could be Near, it could be Algorand, it could be one that maybe we haven't even heard of yet. It could even be your own blockchain if you were going to go completely wild. It has been done before. And in general, this is an online event. And one of the benefits online is we can pretty much provide you with unlimited support. I clearly don't test that to its limits, but in general, what this means is we're always online, certainly from the Encode team side, which means if you ever want to have a call, which we will hopefully push and make sure you do, or just have a question answered, we're pretty much always there. And that's the benefit of the online format. It is 4 weeks long. This is for those of you that back in the day, like a few years ago, did traditional hackathons, which were a weekend where you build intensive 24 hours. That's a very different experience to this. This is a far more slow pace. It fits in with your studies. It fits in with your work. But we hope it allows you to build, A, have a better learning experience, but B, have a better project at the end of it. And as part of that, you can just call on more support, and we are here to help. And we have some great prizes as well at the end of it to add to all that. A little bit about Encode. We are here to help you learn, most importantly, and you'll see that across the many programs we do. And I see a lot of familiar faces from other programs, from our coding boot camps to our hackathons to our accelerators, to our big educational series. And in general, if we haven't got a blockchain partner that already, we will have in the next few weeks or months. So this is the place to learn about blockchain and any specific blockchain or anything about crypto in depth, particularly on the technical side. So thank you for being with us. Thank you for being a part of the community. Stay active on the Discord. And yeah, we hope to entertain you and through a fantastic hackathon. What I also like to point to is the success stories, because a hackathon is about learning. It is about that next step. But I always say to people, a hackathon is the most leveraged bet you can make as a developer, because it's pretty much just time cost, and that's rewarded with prizes. It's rewarded with your own learning. It forces you to a deadline, and people look to hackathons to fund cool stuff, both on a kind of grant level and also from a startup level. And I'm pleased to say we've had there's many names I could put on here, but these are the 4, if not most successful, I think the best stories to tell. Reflexer Labs, that's gone on to do considerable success. Finished 3rd, just by the way. They finished 3rd. This was last year because they only had a white paper, and they raised a massive round about a week later. So that was pretty cool. Euler XYZ, where Paradigm has led the Series A there and is preparing for launch, which should be very cool as a lending platform. 0x Mom's never raised a penny from outside funding. Did it all community-based. Lovely Live Token doing extremely well there. And Float Protocol, also anonymous, fair launch. Again, finished 3rd. Stablecoins and finishing 3rd. If you want to build a stablecoin, fantastic thing to do right now, given the current kind of skepticism around dollar peg stablecoins. Float Protocol as well, that came out of Encode, and many others I've neglected to put on here for the sake of brevity. In general, our Discord is the place that we'd like you to sit, like to be, and it's where we are. So George will make sure, you should have got, when you kind of join the hackathon, a link to the Discord and link to join, but please go there, introduce yourself, and use it for all possible questions and first point of contact. In general, how does a hackathon work? Well, you're just here to build something. This is all, and you can just come here to learn, but I really insist you have this kind of firm focus in mind of building something. And it's, when we say something, we mean a coding project. So we do want to see some code. We do want to see something live and working. After that, the method you take to that conclusion And what that conclusion is completely up to you. As I say, I'm delighted with the breadth of this hackathon, because as much as we love working with fantastic partners, you exclude people by picking a particular blockchain or particular niche. This really is, quite frankly, you could build anything, really. There's a use case between NFTs and DeFi, between DAOs and DeFi, within pretty much anything and DeFi, if you assume the first fundamental use case of crypto and cryptocurrencies is as money, really, as a means of exchange, then you can start building pretty much anything. So please let your imagination go wild. It's not a full-time commitment, it's a part-time commitment. It's as much as you want to put into it. If you're amazing and you can build a project in 3 hours, like, power to you. If you want to spend a few weekends, a few days, if you want to spend 4 weeks full-time, that's completely up to you. It's a flexible structure where there are many opportunities to learn, many events happening in the next 4 weeks, some of which are directly linked to the hackathon, some are just supplementary, but it's there for your learning and enjoyment, so please seize the most of it. In general, the challenge, as I said, is just build anything. We have $40,000 in prizes that will be awarded discretionally. We like to make sure, if any of you done an Encode event before, and if you look at the summaries of every hackathon that comes out, we award a lot of prizes, very simply, and we try to award just people getting out there, showing up, doing, as well as making sure the winners do extremely well. And this hackathon is all the same. So that's why I say the downtime of your time is actually very low. I always say that people that finish usually get some sort of prize, because actually people don't realize that there are always loads of prizes, and people always drop out before doing those little simple steps to kind of build something. So just build something, trust me. Even if you just have a GitHub repository to show for it, this has so much value in the future. What comes after a hackathon? Well, broadly 3 things. One is raise money. If you do want to kind of do it, I know a lot of people are using this hackathon as a launch pad, and I've seen some of these kind of projects already. You look amazing. So raising money, getting a job is such an obvious one. So many people get hired. I spend probably 60-70% of my time right now just helping on the recruitment side. It wasn't an intention, but it's just a natural product of, we see so many great developers and people looking to hire, and demand massively outstrips supply. So having a hackathon record to show that you are a great dev and can build something very specific. A great example, I'm sure they wouldn't mind me mentioning it, but like Delphi Digital came to us last year and said, do you have a graph developer, like the graph? And there is a series happening with Encode very soon. And that's quite specific. It's not like a language. It's saying, do you have something that worked on this project? And someone who did the hackathon with us and won a prize was the perfect candidate. And now they've worked there ever since. All fantastic. That's just by answering a specific challenge. Like, I think he probably spent like 20 hours on it. And now his career is on the back of that, on something so specific. So this is a small example of a iceberg-sized amount of opportunities. And the last thing is just diving down the rabbit hole. I'm not saying a hackathon will get you to your end goal in one step, but trust me, it is the catalyst for future success. And I know none of you, this is not your first rodeo, this is not your first hackathon, this is a point in the journey. So do it, get social capital, make connections, have fun, learn. Trust me, the end result will be fantastic. In general, on the dates, we start on the 18th of October, today, and then submissions on the 14th. I'll talk about what's happening in between in a moment, and what submissions mean. And in general, we finish with a nice finale and prize giving at the end of November, which should be very fun. Structure, we're doing a few workshops this week, or I think we've got 2 in the diary, and then another 1 or 2 next week. We start the one-on-ones. I'll talk about those a little bit later after the Wintermute guys have spoken. Week 3, Roost beginning to intensive building. Week 4, you'll probably have a lot of self-doubt about, are you going to be able to do it? Are you going to build the thing you want to build? But I'm sure you will end up delivering, because people always do. I'm going to stop there because, first of all, to allow for questions. Also, I want to introduce our very fantastic partners, and we've on rare occasions earmarked partners. We have to work with them. Wintermute were just top of this list, and we've really wanted to, ever since we had the AMA with Evgeny, which was a fantastic popular one. We had this idea to do a hackathon. I'm so pleased we've got there. They are one of the leading kind of OTC desks, market makers, in general, trading firms in the space at this point. I know they're hiring a lot as well, so hopefully some of you will end up working for Wintermute. But I want to introduce Evgeny and Ivaylo to say a few words about Wintermute, about what they want to see in the hackathon, and in general, if my keyboard doesn't go weird on me, hand over to them now to say a few words.
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, really excited to be here. It's actually the first hackathon we are organizing as Wintermute, so it's a really new experience for us as well. So first, a bit about Wintermute. Basically, one of the largest market makers in the cryptocurrency space. We've been operating in crypto since 2017. And in particular, we've been working on DeFi for over 2 years, since basically 2019, when it wasn't as hot as it is for the past like year and a half. And we've been supporting all kinds of projects, primarily on the trading side. DYDX is probably the most high-profile one, which I think, quite significantly contributed to being very successful. But basically, what changed for us over those years is we are looking to support more teams building stuff in the space, and that kind of started with us doing venture investments. So we actually did over 35 investments this year alone. But it also means that we are seriously considering doing those kind of events, doing hackathons, also supporting teams, and basically contributing more and more in the building capacity. So switching kind of into like what this hackathon, what success would mean for us, and this one, like I would say one of the really interesting themes that I would invite you to explore is basically picks and shovels, because you can see a lot of different new protocols being built, but at the same time, like if you look at general usability of DeFi as a user, it can be very scary to use. Primarily, I guess, because of like wallet security, like all kinds of like custody processes are like very error prone, for example, or like very outright scary for a lot of users. And I think when you try DeFi yourself for the first time, you probably encountered that. So it would be potentially a good idea to build something around that. And yeah, you don't need anything like very, very complicated. You just need to probably try to use DeFi protocols, especially if you look at specific chains, and see how you can improve this user experience. And kind of the same jump into this next topic, like I would encourage to look into the same like picks and shovels category for NFT space, which has been super active for the past, I would say, 9 months. But there is still a lot of things are missing on the usability side. Like there is still like very tough to do a lot of things that people might want to do. So try to see like where you can apply in that regard. And finally, like one theme that's really interesting for me personally is gaming, and that's been super much on the rise for the past few months. And there is really a lot to do in blockchain gaming. It's really still evolving, and you shouldn't be, I know, scared that you're not going to build next Taxi, because there are so many things still wanting to be built. And I'm talking about games, but I'm also talking about infrastructure for the games, and basically trying to see like whether you can build an interesting protocol or solutions that would, I don't know, for instance, manage in-game assets. Basically, sky is the limit pretty much here. It's such an evolving space. And for the rest of the topics, let me actually hand it over to Ivaylo.
Yep. Hey, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. It's really cool to see like 140 people currently on this call. So I'm pretty excited with what's going to happen with this hackathon. And yeah, just as Evgeny was saying, we have a few more topics that you guys can cover some things on. It would be really cool to see some kind of financial products that maybe haven't been explored yet, in terms of like options or interest rate swaps, or some kind of lending and savings devices that we haven't seen, or maybe interact with some of these protocols in some way that we haven't seen before. And on kind of more developer focused task, looking at kind of trading execution on chain and how that can be improved, and or some kind of trading strategies that potentially we haven't seen before, or haven't been ironed out, fleshed out as much as any traditional ones that we've seen so far. And yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing what some of the things are going to come up in as some of the solutions from you guys. And looking forward to help out and support you guys and see what you can come up with. And of course, distribute the prizes at the end. So yeah, with that, I'll hand back to the Encode team. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much, both. And some good, a little bit of alpha leaking there, particularly from Evgeny, and what cool things you should build. And please take heed of that, because again, hackathons, I cannot say enough, hackathons are the best leverage for getting into the space and doing something cool. And the opportunity, the sky really is the limit. So thank you very much to the Wintermute team for those words. There we go. Well, in the spirit of that, let's go on to kind of prerequisite ability required. And the short answer is you do, well, there's two answers. So one, I would hope everyone participating has some level of technical experience. This is kind of important just because we're asking you to build a project. That's notwithstanding, there's no reason to say why you couldn't be non-technical and join a team with another coder. And this mix we've seen plenty of times in crypto. Some of the leading founders in the space have never coded a day in their life. Probably a good idea to understand how to code, how smart contracts work. And if I may use a chance to shill, if any of you are looking to learn from the ground up, I'm sure George will paste a link to one of our coding boot camps that are happening if you do want to learn intensively from scratch. But we do ask that you, first of all, come with a keen mind, but B, you join a team that will be part of a team that has coding experience. As for coding experience, to be honest, and we'll go through this, you really don't need a huge amount to get started if you're keen, and certainly Encode has a lovely university audience base, and experience from that perspective isn't required too much. But it is important to at least someone in your team has a strong coding background and is capable in minimally Python, but ideally something JavaScript based to kind of really get the hang of stuff. But we can teach you if needs be. We'll talk about finding teammates in a moment. The short answer is you have two methods. One, there is a Discord, and on Discord is a finding teammates channel. Talk about yourself. Everyone gets snapped up. And if you want a more, how do I say, hand-picked version, come and talk to the Encode team. We'll help place you into a team. This is so easy for us to do. So if you are either technical or non-technical looking for a team, we'll absolutely be able to fix that. But just a word on prerequisite ability. In terms of resources, there's kind of broadly 6, 7. One, you will have received a hacker pack, which is all the information about hackathon in general and all little details you might need, little piece of information. The Discord, which I've already shilled massively. In terms of technical support, this is more of a tricky hackathon just because there's not one specific blockchain that you provide support on. We can provide support on. But the good thing is that Encode works with pretty much, let me caveat that with a lot of the leading partners, or if they haven't happened, they will be announced soon. So if you pick a blockchain that we haven't worked with, we still should be able to provide technical support within the Encode team for you on that. So come to us and we will provide that support. Absolutely. In general, the Encode team are just to support myself and George, you see on this call, but there's many that aren't here that I'm going to talk about briefly now. Omji, who basically is in charge of hackers, she will absolutely kind of be there to help you. We have Danny, Vanessa, Clara, Anupam, Matko, if you need design help, Damir, and a few others I'm definitely missing out as well. All of them here to help you in your journey. In general, all of the articles, every event will go up on Medium the next morning. We have the events, which I'll talk about a little bit later, and also the YouTube as well, which you can find. I'm sure George will be pasting links as I'm talking in terms of those resources. In terms of submissions, that date is completely wrong. So it's not, the submission date is in fact the 14th of November. So ignoring that detail, we ask you to submit a demo, a code base, and an optional presentation. The code base being GitHub, please. The demo should be both a working link and a recorded YouTube video of roughly 3 minutes long. We will send a kind of submission guide through that will have all of these details. You can submit whenever. It doesn't have to be on the 14th. You can submit anytime before that, but there's no reason not to. There is no reason not to submit. Not really late. You should wait till the last minute. You might as well. You can resubmit or add any submissions thereafter. In terms of some general FAQs, anyone can participate in this hackathon. We particularly love to see students involved in our events, particularly love to see people in Web 2 looking to kind of get into Web 3. And so please, anyone, if you haven't registered yet, the registration link stays open for the entirety of the hackathon. And we will kind of backdate all the resources to you so that you have, the only disadvantage you have is time, not any of the actual resources available. You can also add teammates to your team anytime. So please just email or message us, Discord being the most efficient route. And we have an internal database of all the teams that are working in the hackathon. So we can just add someone at any time. That's no problem. You can also do more than one project. I don't necessarily advise it, particularly in this hackathon. In a typical Encode hackathon, we might have lots of different technical encoding challenges. And so for these, we might it's kind of obvious, like you do this little challenge on Avalanche and you might do this other little challenge on Polkadot. But if you do want to do two, maybe working on two projects, absolutely no problem. And with that in mind, you are allowed to continue working on stuff you've already started before the hackathon, mainly because it's quite hard to regulate this. But that project cannot have received funding of any form beforehand, please. So not grant funding, not investment funding. But if you have in like last few weeks just with coding away the project, no problem, you can enter that into the hackathon, absolutely fine. Or if it's taken part in another hackathon, we don't mind this. The most important thing is you are iterating on it yourself. Max team size is 6 efficiently. It doesn't work above 6. Like you can submit it, but it just doesn't work. So please do bear this in mind. Next, we will help find teammates. I've already talked about that. So please just message us or post, please, as a first point, post in the finding teammates channel, and you can register until the submission deadline. I'm now going to talk about the events upcoming. So we have 2 events in the immediate future, which does that display nicely, George?
Yeah.
On Wednesday, we have a general Learn DeFi with Wintermute event happening, which should be very fun. And I'm looking forward to that one. That's a Wednesday at half an hour to this slot. It's half an hour before this slot, so 5 p.m. UK. So those of you that are joining us on the East Coast, that's what? Midday. Yeah, thank you for saving me, George. I was like, I'm going to do the maths. I can't do the maths. And then next week, I will be doing an ideation workshop on all sorts of things, talk about the process of ideation and in general, just how would you go about thinking about this stuff. On top of this, not directly linked to this program, we have a few events that we think would be quite useful to you in your kind of general learning. We have, those are to be announced, but we have I had NFT spotlight workshop happening in a couple of weeks' time. We have an intro to the graph happening, which is kind of important. We have some AMAs coming up. We have, in general, just some cool stuff which will be shared to you, constantly kind of communicated, going on for your enjoyment and learning.
So you'll be sending all of that on email or in Discord?
Yes, so you should have already received some email stuff from us. If you haven't, tell us right now, we'll fix it. But in general, you will get everything in basically 3 places. Email, where you will also calendar invited to every event, as well as kind of we share the event, right? Second, we do everything on Discord. Third, there's a Telegram channel as well, which is more for in general events. But you shouldn't miss anything. It actually should go directly into your calendar. Hope that is nice and clear. In general, for mentorship, guys, this is an extension of the one-on-ones, but one of the things Encode prides itself on are we will take lots and lots of one-on-one calls with you. You won't see this in any of the hackathon. It's us to try and compensate for the lack of social time that you get, a social contact you might get in that you would normally get in a traditional hackathon. So particularly Omji on our team, but also myself and George personally do one-to-one calls. We take a ton of time out of our diary to do this. I often comment that Encode is more like a call center than anything else, because we just take calls all day, all our team, like 9 till 7, it's just calls. And that's because we love talking to hackers, and it's the most high value thing we can do. So we will do a lot for you, but please, in the first instance, we'll be sharing a Calendly, book a call with Omji and the first starters, talk about your idea, talk about your background. Even if you've got nothing to say, just come and say hi. And then we will do 1, 2, 3, 4 of these calls to help you get to the level you need to be in the hackathon, just to help. And this actually support doesn't just end at the hackathon. It's something we do in general as Encode, and I know a lot of you who've been part of Encode events have seen this before, but trust me, we'll go a long way for you. So please do take advantage of that. Please do book in the one-on-one calls. It's not a prerequisite. you don't need this. If you're like, I know what to do, I'm getting with it, that's absolutely fine. But just to know it's really there and it's actual support. I want to just give you a little taste of what a previous hackathon broadly looks like. And this is actually from last year, but it's long enough ago that we have data on what the project did out of the hackathon. So this was actually a hackathon that was sponsored by various blockchains, Polkadot, Avalanche, Binance, but I want to kind of talk about the projects that emerged, because this is the cool thing. So in this hackathon, we saw, that is someone trying to call me, a number of people join. So another project, let's kill my Telegram so someone doesn't try and call me. So 0x wanted to talk about earlier in this hackathon. This was a University of California, San Diego senior building a cursed NFTs, kind of looks like Pokemon platform, did extremely well. Go back and look at this video. I'm sure I can actually drop the link in here. So that's one project goes on to big success. Revert Finance actually is an Encode portfolio company. Very proud of them. Product that people love using. Go and follow them on Twitter. Go and try the product if you want to like analytics for your LP positions. Mario is fantastic. Raised money. Float Protocol came third. Anonymous pseudo-anonymous team fair launch. It's kind of important for a stable coin. Just raised their kind of first round. Fantastic again. So a 3 out of 3. Layer Cake Swap hasn't raised money as Layer Cake Swap, but did as Gearbox Protocol, which is a very nice leveraged kind of margin trading and yield farming thing by Mika Lazarev, phenomenal hacker, long time kind of Encode community member. So we're 4 out of 4. Loot, unfortunately, didn't go on to raise money, but one of the team who was a graduate, just a graduate coming out of university, now works for Carla. So he got a job out of it. So I consider that 5 out of 5. Success. Open Dive just raising at the moment on Solana. I know that's going to be a fantastic round. Again, at this SBSC here, they've then moved to Solana. That's a game, 6 out of 6. Sub auction, unfortunately, that was one that hasn't gone on. I know they're fantastic individuals, hasn't necessarily gone on to direct success, but cool project. Same for Teal. Parler raised money, very nice. VCred raised money, launching on Avalanche and Solana. So this is a typical Encode hackathon, to be honest, and you can see from it that everyone went on. Broadly, most people, the kind of top teams, went on to significant success. And I'd actually love to look at this again, or I'm looking forward to looking at this again in a year when we see not just projects that raised, but projects that went on to kind of go on to launch, achieve massive things. And I think this particular post will look great in perpetuity. But this broadly looks like a typical Encode hackathon, and we hope this inspires you to go on to do great things for yourself, because this hackathon, there are no limits. You aren't forced to build on a particular blockchain. You aren't forced to build on a particular kind of integrate this rogue kind of piece of tooling. Go and build what you want to do. You will be rewarded directly. So what's obviously next? Well, first of all, please join the Discord. I've said this many times. Please find teammates. Join the workshops. I know it's so tempting when the workshops are posted the next day to be like, oh, I'll catch up. But I think everyone knows from their own learning experience that so few people actually have the self-discipline, I don't have it, to actually sit there in its entirety. And what you actually lose when you do the kind of watching retrospectively part, it's okay, it can work. What you lose is that subtle kind of back of the mind thinking when you're just watching something and ideas that are generated. This time is actually the valuable thing. And of course you can get that watching on YouTube. There's always the temptation. You can just put it down, watch it later, speed through. Actually, the value is saying, I'm going to put an hour of headspace to this this task or this video, and kind of sit there writing notes and I'll learn more because of it. It's actually why the top universities don't record their lectures, at least in the UK. This is the case. They don't record the lectures because it forces people to attend, and those that don't attend, it's a good filter. So we do record everything. We are online, but I encourage you to come live and to ask questions and just be there. You will get a better experience from it. Well, general thank you for being part of this event. I'm going to stop now for questions and hear ideas and anything. But in general, thank you for signing up. Be engaged. You're going to have a great time. I look forward to seeing amazing projects being built. I look forward to investing in amazing projects that are built. So I'll take a pause there and maybe finish by saying, if you do want to still register, maybe this is the first time, maybe you're watching this on YouTube, and regretting not being able to see it live after I just criticized not watching live. That the registration form is still there. This will take you through to an automated onboarding process where you can get set up in the hackathon, get access to the Discord, etc. And in general, that is all I really want to say. So I'll put this into chat and stop to take questions. Thank you very much, guys. So I'm now going to refer to the chat, and broadly, I'm sure George is taking a few, but I'll just look through. Starting a code project I'm starting coding on a project for school at the end of this month without qualify. That's absolutely fine. Anything I'd be slightly concerned about how sophisticated the project would be working in school, and maybe that leads to the second question, which is why my voice is croaking, which it always does during these events, which leads to kind of a second question of how do you win a prize, what the split of prizes will be. So let's start off by doing the thing, yes, you can, but that's absolutely fine, and use that as a starting point and go and build bigger, better, and come and talk to us about what we think, what you think will be kind of ask what we think is a good idea. I'm going to really share my screen so we can go into a little bit more granular detail about the challenges. So Evgeny touched on this. It wasn't directly in the presentation, but broadly, here's some obvious ideas. Please don't take these limitations, but these are pretty much great. NFT, they are great. NFTs, gaming, financial products coming, or a traditional product coming into the decentralized world. Really good example. I know a great team building interest rate swap stuff for crypto. It didn't exist before. Obvious thing to exist. Go and watch The Big Short. Write down all the key terms. Try to just build that for crypto. I'm sure you'd raise money instantly. But in general, crypto for the masses, trading infrastructure, and then we've got a nice prize split here. Top prize is 20k. That's big. That's kind of massive. So that's nice. 10k for second, 5k for third, fourth to 10 each getting 1k, and then 11th to 20th will get $250 each. So amazing prizes, and that means that 20 teams are getting prizes. So that's absolutely fantastic. So that hopefully answers your question, Patrick. Let's go. Does a trading algo for DeFi qualify? Well, there is a specific trading thing in the list I just read out, and I remember once we had Luno, who those of you in Britain will remember for they did a massive tube like crypto advert last year, and I remember in that someone actually made so much money because they figured out that on there for one particular pair, like the liquidity was so low, and I think we gave everyone $100 to trade it, £100, and I think they 10x that, something stupid, in like a few weeks, and just by building an algo. So I'm not saying that's going to happen now, but do build something. That would be cool. It'd be cool for your own personal journey. And what I would personally like to see, if you are going to build a strategy, is definitely some back testing, significant back testing. And to be honest, on the crypto has somewhat, depending on what market you pick, which you have to be very specific about, and what frequency of trading you pick, you could easily get small sample size effects. So for me, and I'm sure the Wintermute team might have some specific views on this. The thesis is kind of more important than having a small data set you've tested it on, and why you've come to that conclusion, and what is it about that strategy that you think you have an edge on, because quite frankly, edge is everything. And it can be as simple as, oh, no one's done this before, or I am applying this technique that works here. A really good example, some of you will know that you're London based. I know we've got people joining us all around the world, will know Nickel Asset Management, and we actually had the founder Anatoly give an AMA last year, and that was amazing. It might even be at the start of this year, completely lost track of time. And one of the things he talks about is actually what they do. I mean, he's almost certainly underplaying himself. What they do is sophisticated, but what it's doing is providing traditional fund arbitrage techniques to crypto, and it works very well. Maybe it works less well over time, but it works extremely well. And actually, for those of you who remember the story, those of you who remember the kind of genesis of FTX and SBF, actually one of the first things he was doing was arbitrage trading, kind of basically selling BTC in Asia, where it was just difficult to do so. And it's funny how these simple things maybe used to work, maybe still work, but applying traditional trading techniques to crypto probably is still extremely lucrative. So I want to, if you're going to do the trading side, I want to see a sophisticated thesis, well written, and obviously solid evidence why you think that would work. That isn't just like I kind of overfitted my model to the data. Okay, cool. Do you need to code to participate in this hackathon? So I answered this at the start. The straight answer is no. You can join if you have a particular skill set, particularly if you're really interested in crypto. We can pay you up with a team that has coding experience. If you're a solo team, which we have a lot of those, you're actually allowed to be, you're going to have a problem unless, although they were extremely technical, the Reflex, the team submitted like a Medium post in the hackathon, and it was kind of clear that, like this new stablecoin design is very smart. Like this got to be in the final. I didn't win because of that, but they could code. But the point is they didn't submit code. So you probably need to have at least some awareness, but we can put you into a team with other coders. Let's go through. Is a social recovery wallet something you'd like to see built? Definitely. There's a really cool project at the moment that won or did well in our last hackathon called Harpy. That's not social recovery, but it's just like doing this recovery thing, and you get into issues like dead man switches as well. Yeah, that'd be really cool to see. 100%. Second, Christian asks, are there any format for presenting the project? Yep. So I like a working demo, a YouTube video of around 3 minutes, and a GitHub repository is what my preferred format. And we'll go through, we send you a submission guide. What I can actually do, just if people are curious on the format, early doors, if I look at, this is our Hack Africa event, which some of you I know participated in. That is the format, it's exactly the same. It'll just be rebranded. That seems like the obvious questions that George hasn't covered. Does anyone have any other questions? Of course, Discord is the #1 place to ask them as well if you are particularly shy now. But anyone have any more questions for now? Very good. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Nice and short, sharp, done inside 40 minutes. So we look forward to seeing you on Wednesday for the first workshop, DeFi with Wintermute. And in general, please come and talk to us. We'll be arranging one-on-ones. We hope you have a great time. I'm going to answer that question quickly. Option stuff is great. Yeah, definitely. Come and bring these ideas to the workshop on Wednesday. We will, I can't slack sheath, is that how I say it? If you message George and myself on Discord, I will send you some resources on that. There's a couple of cool projects working on the option stuff. Cool. Anyway, everyone, thank you very much for joining us today. We can't wait to see what you build. I hope it's fantastic. In general, just being here, you're already ahead of the game. So thank you. We're going to do some great stuff, and I look forward to seeing what you all submit in 4 weeks' time. And thank you very much to the Wintermute team for supporting this event, partnering with us on this event. We greatly appreciate it. For now, everyone, have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are, and see you soon.